A very good morning. Let's begin with the statesman. The paper carries picture showcasing shattered dreams, even as a villager looks at the remains of his burnt house in Kokrajhar, Assam. There are about 2 lakh such villagers who've been displaced following the ethnic clashes there. And the Indian Express carries the picture of a Bodo relief camp in the Kokrajhar district. It headlines, "Our houses were burnt, we sought revenge, retaliated," and Bodo say it will be difficult for them to accept Muslims as their neighbors again. Meanwhile, Prime Minister is visiting Assam tomorrow. The Hindu headlines, Centre issues stern warning. Leaders of both Bodo and minority communities will be held responsible for violence. Down below, it also carries the picture of the statue that has been vandalized. This is the statue of the former Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Mayawati, which was found with its head knocked off in Lucknow. The Hindustan Times also carries the picture of the beheaded Maya statue. Who's behind it? Damage control was done. It reports UP CM Akhilesh Yadav has condemned the attack and has ordered action against the culprits. Alongside this story, also the paper headlines, Gujarat riots, hang me if guilty, Modi tells Urdu magazine. This is an interview that he gave to Shahid Siddiqui. Interestingly, he's also a member of Samajwadi Party. Is it a PR exercise ahead of the Gujarat elections later this year? Hindustan Times also has a human interest story as it headlines, hospital in Jalandhar has been accused of allowing a 4-day-old to die over rupees 200. A girl child died, all of 4 days old, for want of rupees 200 to keep her in a phototherapy unit. How shocking is that? From rupees 200, let's focus on alleged 549 crore rupee bribe. The Times of India carries that story. Marans got bribe in Aircel Maxis deal. CBI seems to be on the verge of concluding the investigations in that case. Charge sheet soon. No comment, says Dayanidhi. And of course, it's 27th of July. It's the big day. That's when the London Olympics begin. The Times of India says the Olympics are here. Fasten your seatbelts. All eyes on the opening ceremony that's scheduled later today. This is the 30th edition. 204 countries are participating. Over 10,000 athletes, and interestingly, 4,800 plus women athletes, which is the highest number in any Olympics this time. And as we keep our focus on the world sporting people, let's also keep eyes on the Indian contingent. It's the largest ever, 81, 58 men, 23 women. And let's have a prayer on our lips that we perform to our potential. Back to the studios. And now for a discussion on the newspaper headlines published from the national capital, New Delhi. We are joined in our studio senior journalist Sushma Ramachandran. Sushma, a very good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Sushma.
Let's begin with the Assam situation. The Hindu says sporadic violence in Kokrajhar. But yesterday, addressing the media, Tarun Gogoi, the Chief Minister of Assam, said that media is saying Assam is burning. But I would like to tell them that there are 28 districts in the state and only 4 are affected by the violence. So what's correct reporting? What's the correct assessment of the situation on the ground?
Well, I think, it's very difficult to accept what the Chief Minister says when, 42 people have died. So it doesn't matter if it happened in one district and it didn't happen in the other districts. The fact is that in Assam, 42 people have died as a result of these disturbances at these riots, and it's absolutely shocking. I think Assam definitely is burning. I think the Chief Minister must accept that. And the fact that I think that it is very wrong of him to try and defend the scenario. He needs to go ahead and try and apply a healing touch to the wounds of the Bodos as well as the Muslim immigrants in that area. I think, these are the things that politicians do at times like this to try and probably protect their image. But I think it's completely the wrong approach.
Would you also buy what Chief Minister said, that he was caught off guard, the state government? Aren't we aware of the simmering tensions between the two, the Bodo and the other Bengali-speaking Muslim outfit? Do you think that this has been there for years, from 80s perhaps?
Yes, this is a long-standing problem, and I think it is well known that the creation of the Bodoland Territorial Council, the creation of the Bodoland Territorial, that area, has created a lot of problems. The Bodos are opposed to a lot of the features in that legislation, which allows the immigrants to own land. Of course, the immigrants say that we have been there, some of them have been there for 40, 50 years, you know, it's virtually an entire generation. So there are, you know, issues on both sides.
Imminent solutions? Any solutions?
And I think the solution needs to be that both sides need to be brought to the table. It is for the Assam government to address this issue rather than put it on the back burner. And the fact that it has been simmering for so long means that the Assam government has not addressed these problems.
But Sushma, do you think that Centre is doing enough in terms of putting pressure on Assam government to look into this issue? Because it's been brewing for a while now. I mean, it's a couple of weeks. And as we were discussing, as our correspondent from there also said that this is not an aberration. There is a history to these incidents there.
Absolutely. There is a history. And as far as the centre is concerned, yes, the centre should have been putting more pressure on the government, but it is the responsibility of the state government, definitely of Tarun Gogoi, to have been dealing with this problem. It is a long pending problem. There have been simmering tensions, as your correspondent said, that there is a history. So why should the situation have been allowed to reach a situation in which so many people have died? It's absolutely tragic. The fact that so many relief camps are there, people's houses have been burnt, all their entire life savings, their belongings have gone down the drain, and now you are in a situation where you have to spend a lot of money in trying to provide them relief,
and
as well as bringing in paramilitary.
It's shocking because when we are talking of these sort of communal killings as are happening there in Assam, there were few that happened in Gujarat many years back, and there is a story associated with that. Hang me if I'm guilty, Modi tells an Urdu weekly, which is owned by Shahid Siddiqui, who is an MP, of course. So how should we read into this? It is pure politicking, or he's actually asking for redemption?
Well, he certainly is not asking for forgiveness. That he says, I'm not going to do. And he does say, however, that you are free to launch any inquiry into me, and if I'm found guilty, you hang me. Now, he's clearly got an eye on the impending elections, and the fact that, you know, in 2014 there also will be national elections. And Mr. Modi is considered one of the contenders for the post of Prime Minister among the NDA and, of course, the BJP. Now, the main issue against Mr. Modi, against becoming a prime ministerial contender, is the Gujarat riots. The fact that other coalition partners in the NDA are probably not prepared to accept him.
But to his credit, hasn't the law of the land and all the SITs and the investigation so far given him almost a clean chit?
That is true. You know, I would agree with you, but the fact is that there is something known as moral responsibility. He was the Chief Minister of Gujarat when these riots took place, even if he was not directly culpable, even if he didn't, let us assume.
He's won, what, 3 elections since then?
He was presiding over the state at a time when these incidents took place, when so many people died. You know, you can say every time there's a train accident, why should a railway minister resign? Once upon a time, there was a tradition that the railway minister would resign. But now it's all gone. I think this factor of moral responsibility of politicians has to be revived.
And even the reports there said that a lot of stuff there that happened was because of the official connivance.
Yes, official connivance. So maybe Modi was not directly responsible. Maybe it was acts of omission. But the fact is that he presided over the bureaucratic machinery, the entire administration.
But on that note, would you ask then Sushma, Tarun Gogoi to resign from Assam? Would you draw any parallel between what they are calling ethnic clashes in Assam to say what happened in Gujarat a decade back?
No. That is, I think we cannot draw parallels here between Gujarat and the Bodoland issue. It's a different issue altogether. And so, I mean, you know, that would require perhaps a more detailed discussion. But I don't think there's a parallel. But definitely, even in states where you do have riots and things, you know, on a sustained basis like that, I think that politicians must assume responsibility. And as I said, there used to be a tradition that railway ministers will resign when there's an accident. It's completely disappeared now.
But Sushma, coming back to Modi as a personality, I mean, in the last, say, 5 years, 6 years, he's come up in this new avatar where many in the country are now looking at him as a prime ministerial candidate. He has prime ministerial aspirations. This is all coming in the larger context of huge development in Gujarat. But at the same time, many commentators are saying that isn't it a mockery of democracy? Because first he should come clean. Then the party should really talk of him as the prime ministerial candidate, because you can't have a prime ministerial candidate whose edges, as Nitish Kumar said, are I'm not sure, I have to paraphrase it, he said are kind of rough.
Yeah.
That's how he
Well,
put it.
I think that's coming back to what I said earlier when you talk about Nitish Kumar. The problem with him becoming a prime ministerial candidate for the NDA is that the other coalition partners, like Nitish Kumar, are not prepared to accept him in that role. And of course, corollary to that is perhaps Nitish Kumar could be acceptable in that role.
Right. Amidst all this politics, Sushma,
yeah.
let's talk about sports. You know, it's 27th of July, the London Mega Games are beginning. Are you a sports lover? 13 sports, 81 athletes from India. Do you think this perhaps could be our best chance ever?
Well, I think right now everybody's a sports lover in India. We're all looking forward to this 81-member contingent doing well in the Olympics. Of course, you know, we have to concede that India has never done very well at the Olympics. For such a huge country, it is unfortunately a crying shame that, you know, we get so few medals. But let us look at the positive aspect.
Do you have any favorite sports people? Any special sport? We've
Well, I
got
think,
boxing, archery, so many sports.
Yeah, well, I think I'm actually rooting for the archers, these Deepika,
Kumari.
who they come from these modest backgrounds and they're doing so well. I think these are very inspirational stories.